Hey folks, welcome to the UFS podcast. Today I'm joined by Nick Wybert, Chris, and Seb.
Hi.
All right, so, and as you all hopefully remember, I'm Brad. I was on that first podcast, and I'll probably be on the rest of them. Today we're talking about The Lighthouse in particular, before we devolve into just random movie nonsense. So, who wants to go first?
Well, I guess I was the first person to see the movie.
Yeah, you were.
I mean, well...
You were also the most excited for it.
Probably.
Yeah, just about. I mean, I was convinced by my roommate to go and watch it alone before the whole group went. And that was a wild experience because everyone was, like, deeply silent the entire time I was watching it. And I can't really describe how atmospheric it got, but by the end... I guess, wait, we're spoiling, right?
We're spoiling. Spoiler warning on all of these.
By the end, when the dude's screaming into the light, you know, my face had just, like, devolved into... I don't even know how to describe it. But I loved it so much that by the time the second time with the whole group, where you can hear everyone, like, snickering and laughing, it's not as big of a deal because you've already...
Wait, so you went on Thursday night, like, was there a lot of people there? So
it was pretty packed, but everyone was silent. That was, like, the difference.
Right. Yeah, because it's all the people that, like, bought it the first day. Like, you there's no way you just happen to be there and go into that screening.
Night.
Yeah, like, you're there for a purpose.
No one stumbles into the Lighthouse
on the opening night.
Yeah, that's
like
not...
Maybe on a weekend night, they're just like...
a fucking new movie.
But yeah, Thursday.
Yeah.
My kind of question was, what category or
like
genre would you put this movie into?
Fuck.
I don't want to put it in horror. Like that's what.
No,
that's what
it's
everyone
not
puts
in
into
horror.
horror.
No, it's definitely not a
Suspense.
horror movie. It's suspense is the key word here. It's like an atmospheric suspense movie, but it's not really a thriller either because it doesn't have the pacing for that.
I've never been a huge fan of like genre like distinctions anyway. Like it's just limiting. I don't know.
I feel like for most mainstream movies you can pretty easily just shunt them into a genre, but for a movie like this artsy, I think it exists outside of that.
Sure.
Like you can throw it. It's kind of like a horror. It's kind of like a thriller, but it's
dark
not
comedy.
Yeah.
Like come on.
Yeah, honestly, like it's
not
not
absurd, surreal.
My argument against that would be like dark comedies aren't paced the way that this movie is because like it goes from like wild, dreamlike sequence to like two dudes talking about their past, and I mean I don't know.
Well, I'm not saying it's just a dark comedy either, but like it has
that is applicable to this movie.
There's
it has elements of like so many different.
When I walked into this, I really thought it was going to be a very serious movie, and all the times that Willem Dafoe farted throughout the film really reminded me that I was a fool. And, so were my expectations.
I like that. The movie's so like serious at times, but then it's like there's just a fart joke. Like
there's only like 4 of them, honestly. In the movie. I mean, as someone who's seen the movie 3 times now, like I've only counted 4. And 2 of them were at that one scene. So
but then there's a bunch of scenes that are reminiscent of like a college party film where they're just completely blasted, like drunk off of their ass, and just having a great time, and then at each other's throats, and then back to having a great time, and then on the floor like crying in each other's arms. Like that is right out of like a college movie.
Yeah, they needed it. The only medicine is drink. That's what he said.
What was it that Robert suggested to Robert Eggers or?
Throwing up.
He's like, I can throw up on Willem.
I don't know the like details of it. He
on command.
He said he could throw up on command, and he like wanted to do it without informing Willem. Like he wanted to throw up on him or something like that, or he just suggested it. Like,
Willem was like, if he fucking throws up on.
No, I don't think he heard about it. I don't know,
but I feel like Willem would be down for it.
I agree
because he demanded to get agreed to get buried alive.
Buried alive, and eating dirt.
Ate the shit out of that dirt.
Yeah, like I thought that scene was really rough just to watch.
So hard to watch.
Just because like that's real dirt in Willem Dafoe's face. Like he got dirt in his eye.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's like wincing.
Yeah,
like
you can
dirt in
tell
his eye.
that he's not comfortable. Like he's really getting dirt in his face.
Yeah. And they apparently did 2 takes of that. I saw some interview.
2 takes?
Yeah.
Of like the long shot of him getting carried on the collar.
I think just the burial.
Oh, right, because there is a cut. You're right.
Cut there,
Yeah. I can't imagine him going through.
I could
all
imagine
of
him doing more than 2
of him like
being buried alive like
and
that.
him crawling from the lighthouse all the way
Yeah.
to falling into the ditch.
Good dog. God.
That's my lad.
I love it because I mean Robert his past foreman and Willem called him dog all the time. So it's like the flipping of like he's literally making him a dog.
It's a power thing.
Honestly,
Yeah.
speaking of like their performances, I think Willem Dafoe made Robert Pattinson look bad in this movie. Like Willem Dafoe's performance was so much better than Robert Pattinson's.
No, I think.
I was gonna say I
think he
completely
just has,
disagree.
I think he has more lines, and his lines are more.
He has more
He has-
monologues.
And his character, Defoe's, because you can't have 2 people trying to fight for the main spotlight, but you have to be a good actor to get as much out of your performance while still being a substitute for like the main person. So like not anyone could have just been in Robert Pattinson's role.
No, I'm not saying Robert Pattinson did a bad job. I'm saying Willem Dafoe's performance is so stellar that like Robert Pattinson just doesn't match up.
I think they're both like legendary performances.
Yeah. I don't even
like they make each other better.
I think they're better. Like they're equally good and different. Like Robert Pattinson's better with just his facial expressions, and you know, obviously William Dafoe or Willem.
I think Robert plays like the craziness better, but like Willem, I think does like the monologues and like the crazy face, like still monotone face of him just staring into nothing.
Yeah.
It's like the one where he doesn't blink. The first where he curses Robert.
Yeah.
He doesn't blink for like a minute and a half.
It was one take too. They cut away from it, but he didn't blink for the whole take.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were both.
I think he disappears more into the character than I probably could.
Oh,
say that.
100%.
Willem Dafoe definitely like
so committed to it.
Yeah.
And they're both just like, you know, they're achieving very different things. That's why I'm like. Also, you haven't seen it a second time yet, have you?
No.
Okay, so when I watched it the second time, like I had the same exact thought. I was like, man, Willem like stole the show. I was like, so I'm gonna consciously like focus on Robert more. And then I was like, wow, like he did a freaking incredible job.
In retrospect, he does a fantastic job in any of his non-speaking parts. Like his just screen presence is pretty powerful, especially in the follow shots where he's just like has to do all these goddamn chores. Like I think that'd be enough to drive any man mad.
That's the kind of the point. It's like purgatory where he's just stuck doing the same. Oh, I mean, we don't have to get into that theory, but like, I mean, he's just kind of stuck doing the same mundane tasks over and over and over, and like without end, really, because time seems to elude them.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
that bit where
5 weeks, 2 days.
That bit threw me. Like I was just kind of like, the whole thing about Willem Dafoe's character gaslighting the crap out of Roberts, like just completely preventing him from knowing what's real and what isn't anymore.
Well, like telling me like you chased me down with an axe when it's like we saw like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So
and then the audience is along with them, where they think it's like you're following along with the days, and then after that drunken night. He's like, well, we've been here for
like
weeks.
Like,
and then like because that throws off Robert Pattinson, but also throws off the audience. Like we're in.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be in Robert Pattinson's shoes.
Yeah, we're in his head.
Because it only felt like a night as well for us.
Yeah.
So.
Because that's all we saw.
Yeah, that's all we saw. Is one night he wakes up and.
Yeah,
that should be it.
But like, both of them are like equally unreliable too.
Yeah.
Both of them are liars, so like, I don't know what the heck to believe.
Both their names are Tom.
Yeah. Apparently, so this movie was inspired by a real story, and it was a folk tale about 2 men in the early 1800s that were tending a lighthouse like this. And then when they went to pick them up, they were just gone, and there was like no sign of anything. And they were both named Thomas. They don't know much. They don't really know what happened. Yeah. So like, I guess Robert Eggers like caught one of that, and he's like,
it was like that was like his brother's idea for the movie.
Oh really?
And then, yeah, so it was Max Eggers' idea, and then Robert loved it so much he's like, oh man, are you doing anything with that? He's like, maybe let's flesh it out. So they wrote it together.
Very nice.
Right? Yeah.
They're co-screenwriters.
Yeah, it said written by Robert and Max.
Yeah.
Max Eggers.
That sea shanty in the credits.
Yeah. Doodle Let Me Go. It's a good song.
I actually didn't stay for the credits. I walked out.
Oh my goodness! The third time I watched it, I was me and a friend, and we were just like frozen, staring at the screen, listening to that sea shanty because it's so haunting at the end.
It is.
Might have to watch it again.
Yeah.
This is one of those slow films that I could definitely watch again. Like, it was entertaining the whole time. Like, it may not have had like a huge plot relevance pushing it the whole time, but it stayed. There was stuff going on,
right?
Know?
And it's just so well made, like in every aspect. Like, I don't know. I just like that's why you just enjoy watching it, even when nothing's happening.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there with a big smile on my face while Robert's like has
carrying
a wheelbarrow with some rocks in it
in the rain.
The part where he throws the pot and he goes back in his face and just goes,
he's like Big Lebowski.
Like Big Lebowski,
His screams in this movie, like, oh my god, him, with the poop in his face and jacking off to the mermaid.
Yeah.
Like all kinds
he shrieks.
Shrieks. Like,
what was that about? I forgot about that. He let out the really like piercing like shriek, and then that's when he threw the statue.
Yeah, and he thought he broke the curse when he did that.
Yeah. Freaking maniac.
The laughing,
monkey noises.
Yeah, they pulled it off.
I was really put off at the very beginning when it's the aspect ratio is like square.
It's straight up square. Yeah. It's like 1.19 to 1 or something like that.
At first, I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is going to be unpleasant to watch. But the way that it works with the scene's shadows, like the dark lighting of it in the black and white, I feel like it almost makes it feel like the whole screen is part of the viewing experience. So it's less that literally becomes more as you watch it.
Yeah. I remember that thought passing my head, but like I couldn't articulate it because like those dinner scenes where there's such low lighting. There's
no light.
It's like just their face is lit by a light candle.
So you can see like where you would normally see things and be dark, but because of that, you think the whole screen becomes that dark.
You don't see this line.
Right.
Yeah.
It blends in.
Yeah.
Which is like during Willem Dafoe's curse monologue, I noticed it the third time where it's like at some point it's his face is like the only thing that's like lit on screen, and like just the aspect ratio just completely disappears.
Yeah, it just fades away.
And I think that's just the sign of really great filmmaking.
But when it is there, it's still like.
I
never had a problem with it.
Yeah, it's just thematically it symbolizes like the confinement of the characters and the shape of the lighthouse itself, all tall and sounded.
That noise was omnipresent for like the first chunk of that film.
Yeah. Do lighthouses actually make that?
It
doesn't sound quite that like unearthly. Like they did something to.
I don't know, man. I was on a cruise once where a fog hit.
It sounded like that?
Scary. It was scary because you can't see. You just can't see. You're on a big boat, which is like the size of a hotel. You look out the side, there is nothing, and that foghorn always. And it sounds like that. It really does.
Wow.
Because it's not like...
I was looking up foghorns, and they sounded like more like what I thought a foghorn would sound.
They sound normal if you do it on land, but the different way that it reverberates when you're like out there, when there's just the water, it sounds like that.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
It's so... freaky, dude.
It is freaky, and I saw someone said something on Reddit. Like I don't know if this is a real thing. They said something about the like the alien effect, like the movie Alien.
Mm-hmm.
But what sound is in that? It was like some kind of principle where if you can like create a sound.
Oh, I think it's like
the alarm.
They had the gun and like the monitor. You know, it was
the
beep
beep.
Sound.
Yeah.
Something like that.
There's two.
Closer.
There's two sounds in Alien that are like that. It's the alarm that Mother makes after the self-destruct sequence has started.
That's probably what this is in reference to. But
and then there's the one with the beeping for the alien because that one's omnipresent even when it's not looking at the screen. Like I did a paper on that.
Because as soon as you hear it, you know that there's one around.
Right, the sound. It's like a Pavlov response.
It's
the second
like
you hear that
radar
noise,
or something it's moving.
Yeah. You can there's a blip on the thing, and if you hear the beep, that means the alien's nearby. When Mother is making that noise, there's a beep when the alien's near. Like it gets incorporated into the alarm, and that's when Ripley sees the alien. Mm-hmm. Like it triggers a fear response in your head because you know that means the alien's nearby.
Right.
And same thing with the foghorn. Foghorns are dangerous. Like if a foghorn means if there's a foghorn going off, that means you need to be paying a lot of attention.
Yes.
So it just immediately sets you on edge.
It's like deafening in the theater because it's so basic.
It's so
I loved it, man. I love good sound
design. It's like
the
lowest octave of a sub bass you can get, and it's just like in your stomach,
reverberating,
and just like Robert Pattinson is like shoveling.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and it deafens them.
Yeah. but like the principle, like what they were saying specifically is like if you like have a sound that's like distinctly like unearthly or like that siren, and then if you continue to repeat it throughout the movie, like it gets more and more unsettling. Like I don't know if that's from like a study or something. Because
it felt like it honestly feels like foghorns are designed to scare people. Like they were made to strike fear to the hearts of men.
There's probably some truth to that.
I mean, it's the idea of the
you want to like, oh shit, like
foghorn.
Well, just made to get your attention.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it.
You really can't ignore a foghorn. That's one of those noises that even like if you're on a ship when a foghorn's going off, it goes off like every minute or 2 minutes on the dot. Every minute, 2 minutes, does not stop until you're out of the fog. That's not a noise that stops bugging you. Like, you always are aware that the foghorn is going off.
Yeah.
It doesn't just disappear because it's of its repetitive nature. It stays with you. And it did in the movie. Like, you never get used to the foghorn going off.
I was going to mention, like, the siren of the mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the foghorn, but worse.
It's like a different version of the foghorn where it's much more piercing and much more... imminent, I'd say, because like the foghorn is like the ominous something's going to happen. Like with the mermaid, it's like I'm coming after you.
Something
like,
is happening.
It's happening right now.
Yeah,
That's
aren't
so
sirens
confusing.
in like mythology? Aren't they like
they draw men
an elusive character? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was exactly like the Greek version of the siren.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that part where he has sex with a giant fish vagina that is just on screen?
I mean, it shows it for like a brief second.
Yeah.
But it is there. There is a giant fish
Yes.
vagina on screen. Hello? Am I getting a call in the middle of a podcast? Racists.
Wow. We
Ridiculous.
gotta start over. Stop the recording.
Edit that in post.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just another wild thing they could add to it. I mean, besides like the tentacles, and I kind of wanted to ask who you think Willem is, or who you think his character
I think
is.
he's like Poseidon, right?
There's like Poseidon, Triton, or there's the shapeshifter dude
the
that you
Proteus.
talked about,
Proteus.
Proteus.
I thought, Proteus.
or some combination of all of those. Like,
Yeah, or maybe he's not even there.
Or maybe he's not not a mythological creature, or he's just like he's like the keeper of heaven, or like the
like a
gatekeeper,
gatekeeper.
or a guardian, or like he's tasked to like watch over people in purgatory before they go to heaven, or before they go to hell.
And if we're going with that, he's definitely like a neutral kind of, because he's like he
has
tempts them in like both directions though.
I mean, he has a book. He has like a record book of keeping up with like how the person is doing.
But he's not like
Lighthouse.
pushing him towards like good.
No.
Yeah. Like he does sometimes, but then he's like tempts him with like alcohol or like something like this. You know what I mean?
He wasn't a drinker before.
He tests him, is what I.
No.
He was offered it.
I think he was
an alcoholic.
I think he was an alcoholic before getting there, and he's like, I'm not touching this stuff. And then,
And then when he did,
it was over. I honestly think Willem Dafoe like isn't representative of anything. I think that's just a man. But the whole time, Robert Pattinson is insane from day 2. Like, the guy's lost it after being there for not very long. And the whole thing is just his madness.
Really?
Like, it's all from... like because
it has to do with guilt or something. Because, like, the fact that he keeps bringing up his old past and, like, the old job he had and everything.
Yeah.
He killed Winslow.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, that was, like, the first hallucination he had. Like... The first
all the
the body
night,
with the logs,
So he already came with this feeling of guilt, you know.
Yeah, I think he was, because that scene was so early, I think Robert is insane from the get-go. Like, he's already lost it. And being out there in the isolation has just exacerbated the problem to the point of hallucination.
Yeah, you can definitely read it that way.
So, I mean,
you can read it in so many ways, too.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to mention, like, what you guys thought about the mermaid statue being inside the pillow, because there's the little hole... And he pulls out, like, hairs before he gets to it, and then he pulls out the mermaid, and then later on, you do see Willem kind of fucking the bed, and I'm thinking, is that hole in the pillow Willem going at it?
I don't know about
and he put the mermaid in there. I just, because that mermaid's obviously planted.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna find it one way or another, just sleeping on it. So it's like
he felt it when he was sitting on it. Like I noticed it the second time. Like he's sitting on the bed and he kind of makes the face and shifts a little bit.
Right,
so he felt it.
Someone put it there for him to find, and so that's why he thought Willem cursed him with the statue. So
yeah, and that's the part of the thing of Willem being a completely unreliable character. Like he talks about the other guy being the nut job who had the statuette, or didn't talk about the statuette. Talked about him being like a crazy person who thought mermaids were real. And then you have the mermaid statue in that
I
bed.
thought there was an enchantment in the light.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't quite understand what his fascination with the lighthouse was, like the actual light of the lighthouse.
There's
Well,
a lot of
it could be
ways to
anything.
read that.
Yeah,
there's-
it could be heaven, or it could even be a real job, like an occupation you have. Because like he even talks about how he goes from job to job, can't find anything.
Yeah.
And William Dafoe's his character that seems to have it all figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Like the lighthouse is his, and I don't know. You could even read it as he becomes crazy because he just wants to get. He's lost in his life. It's almost like Lost in Translation, where he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't have an occupation he likes or any motivation in his life to do anything. And he sees the lighthouse as maybe an opportunity to get that.
Mhm.
And then William Dafoe is stunting his growth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a lighthouse, and then the fact that there was nothing but a light there, it broke his mind or something.
Yeah.
I mean, the scene where he's like, the scene where Robert tries to get up there, and then Willem Dafoe like appears buck naked, spotlights out of his eyes, holding him like this,
shot of the
power pose. Oh, that shot.
It's a
was so
painting.
good.
Yeah,
It's
my
so
jaw
good.
like dropped. Yeah, there's like a painting. Don't know the title or anything. That's like
It's based off.
yeah,
of it.
like it's recreated like exactly. It's like some kind of death judge looking figure with a black like hood grabbing a guy's arm and the light shining in his face.
onto him.
It was
Yeah.
so good.
Well, because he's like he first finds his own body,
Yes.
and then Willem grabs him. So it's like as if he's trying to find himself, but Willem's like, no, that's not you anymore.
I
Like,
don't even know. Yeah, that's just like a 3-second shot, but it's like rich.
Yeah,
with-
there's a lot in there. Lots of unpack.
I haven't
there's a
even
lot to
thought too
unpack.
much about like how to explain that shot.
context of the scene. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of like really important scenes, how about the last one where he just like looks at the light and just starts exploding?
Well, I think that whole sequence is like gorgeous when it's spinning. Because almost, I don't know if that's the way actual lighthouses look.
The inside,
When
I think the
you're
old timey
inside.
ones.
Oh yeah, no, they based because they built the whole lighthouse.
Yeah, I
and
think
then
the old ones
It's like a
look like that.
Fresnel lens,
But it almost looks extraterrestrial.
It does.
You know, when
Yeah.
it's spinning and he's sitting in front, it's slow paced. You know, it's almost like 2001: A Space Odyssey. And the
Uh-huh.
monolith is just coming towards.
It's unearthly, man. Just
Yeah.
like that foghorn sound.
I mean, it stops and opens up as Robert comes
and
up
there's
there.
like this
so.
hum, like this high pitched glowing kind of sound when he's in there with it, just as it spins. You know.
You beauty.
Yeah, maybe.
I really want more of this kind of thing, like the whole, like sailor stories kind of horror.
Yeah.
Like, I want scary stories that come from sailors because I don't think anyone tells better scary stories than seamen. Like those gentlemen are the most paranoid out of anyone, the most superstitious.
Uh-huh.
They've got some wackadoodle stories, and I want to hear them.
Yeah,
Mix them with
bad
Cthulhu
luck.
mythos, and you've got movies. Like I mean, this is kind of like that.
Yeah, no, this felt like I mean him looking into the light and going crazy. That was like full on like Lovecraftian like
The muted
Lovecraft
scream.
and, like,
There's a tentacle that shows up.
yeah, but just like more Lovecraftian than the tentacle is like just the notion of like the true nature of the universe being like something that
Some lighthouse.
some horrifying thing we can't comprehend. Like that happens a lot.
Yeah, like Robert sees the thing, falls down the stairs, and is eaten by
Yes.
pelicans.
Yeah.
Or seagulls, I guess.
Seagulls.
Prometheus, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there was a ton of Prometheus stuff
Uh-huh.
in there, like Keeper of the Light and being punished
Yeah,
at the
he
end.
went up to steal the
yeah,
light.
went up to steal the
And
light
then
and
was
was
punished.
and then had his organs pecked out.
For
Yep,
eternity.
like immediately.
Yeah, and he's still alive in the last scene.
Yeah,
you hear
yeah.
him like
Yeah, just
grunting.
groaning.
I
And
kind of
his eyes
wondered
are
how he
black.
got out there.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever gonna die, man.
Yeah, he's
That's his eternal
He's been
punishment.
cursed in hell.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think
what you get for killing a seagull.
you know it's another classic.
I'd like
you
to
know.
kill a seabird.
I agree.
This is,
though.
yeah, this is definitely gonna live the test of time. I mean, the more it requires from the viewer, like the more hours you put into it, the more you get out of it. So.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's just as the possibility of becoming a cult classic, horror movie or thriller
Whatever you
movie
wanna
or
call
suspense movie, whatever you want to call it. It's just a movie that will stand the test
Anything
of time.
that can make us think and talk, like speculate and talk this much is just special.
Yeah, I
So
mean-
go see the movie, go support the Lighthouse, so
Yeah.
that more movies like this can be found.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, this is a real gem of a movie. Like
and
I mean, if you haven't
it
already seen it,
it's occupied the
just-
entire podcast so far, which, despite how good Joker was, did not.
now that would be an interesting. Did you guys already talk about Joker? in
Yeah,
the
that
we
was
podcast?
our last
we talked about Joker in the last
Okay,
podcast.
so
It took up our attention for about 10, 15 minutes.
okay.
If we're talking about visual like depictions of like someone's mind breaking down like this, because
It's
that's
not
something
even
both of them
comparable.
tried to do.
Yeah. Both,
Yeah, I think
This
they
is
did it
not
in two
another
different ways. The Lighthouse is otherworldly, and Joker was society.
And one's a movie.
Yes.
One is a movie you can't compare to anything, and one is a complete.
It's just
I'm not going to
rooted
say
in-
a ripper, but it's like if
It
certain
totally
movies didn't
apes
exist,
Taxi
the Joker,
Driver.
the Joker wouldn't be made.
Yeah.
It
Right.
totally apes Taxi
You can't say
Driver.
that.
But I like it. I like it more than Taxi Driver.
Joker.
I really do, and it's not because I think Joker. It's not because I think Joker is better, because I think they're about on equal footing. I just feel like Taxi Driver was less pleasant to watch. Like I feel like Joker was
That's why I like him more.
Yeah, that's why I
That's
like
what I
it
was
more.
to say. There's
I
It's
think
a
it's just the fact that like Jodie Foster's character is in there just makes the whole movie for me.
I mean, what do you guys think the Lighthouse kind of places on your top of the year list?
It's the number one for me.
It's number one right now, but I haven't seen Parasite.
I haven't seen it.
You
either.
guys have not seen. Have you seen Parasite yet, Bradley?
No, I haven't.
So I'm the only
waiting for that
one here who has seen Parasite
Have you
and
decided?
Lighthouse.
Between those.
I was having this conversation with Leo. Leo believes Parasite is better than Lighthouse. I believe Lighthouse is better than Parasite. I mean, they're both 5 out of 5 movies for me, which kind of just makes them different kind of masterpieces to me.
Yes.
I don't think that's happened to me in a long time for 2 5 out of 5 movies to be in 1 year.
Uh-huh.
But
Still over here rooting for Hustlers.
Hustlers.
I really liked Hustlers probably more than it deserves. Something about that movie.
No,
just
I
caught
loved
me.
it. I
Great
loved
movie.
it.
It's
Something
great.
about that movie.
It's in my top 10 for sure.
I'd say so.
of the
Yeah.
year.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, do you guys have like a top 5
For the
the year?
I know Lighthouse and Midsummer are my top 2.
Lighthouse,
Midsommar.
Midsummer, Farewell.
Oh yeah,
Farewell.
Last Black Man is in the top 5 for me
The
too.
Last Black Man, and then the martial arts movie with.
Oh, Art of Self-Defense.
Art of Self-Defense was so funny.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
another movie you can't really put in a single genre.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a
That
trash.
I just
I
call it
just-
a dark comedy.
Dark
Honestly,
awkward
Really?
comedy. Yeah, it's a
It's-
standard like what's his name?
Yorgos.
No, I didn't mean Yorgos. I mean no, I'm not talking about the director. I'm talking about the actor.
Jesse Eisenberg.
It's a Jesse Eisenberg movie. Like
I mean, it's I
know
don't know.
what
It feels
other-
like a mishmash.
I don't know
to
what
me.
the movie's been.
It almost went like horror for a second.
Yeah,
When
honestly.
he went back into that room that was off limits the whole movie, like I felt genuine like dread. I was like, oh, what the hell's back here?
it was when I was watching that. I'm just like in my head, I'm like, ooh, this is scary. But in my like filmic knowledge, I'm like, I know what the rest of this movie is. Something derpy is about to happen, and I'm gonna get a chuckle out of it. And then something did, and I got a chuckle out of it.
Right.
The movie was funny as hell.
Yeah. I just can't
I like
wait.
how they tied it up at the end too.
What is your most and
And it
the
was
one?
finger.
Oh my God! What a line, right?
Yeah.
Like he punched a hole through the man's skull. He was the greatest man who ever lived. I love that part.
Absurd.
Oh Lord.
No, I was gonna ask you guys, what do you guys is like your favorite, or not favorite, but most anticipated movie for the rest of the year?
Marriage Story.
Marriage Story for you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Star Wars.
Star Wars.
You know that
It's my
as
most
cheesy as an answer
anticipated.
that is. I feel like Star Wars might be my most. I mean,
Like-
Uncut Gems is up there
Yeah.
for Adam Sandler.
JoJo has like risen the ranks for me because it's just been getting praised from everywhere that I've
Yeah.
seen.
Man, Uncut Gems. I want that movie to come out and be fantastic for no other reason than so I can say Adam Sandler is a fantastic actor who chooses to make bad movies.
Or something among
You-
those.
I already
I
feel
think,
that
I
way.
think you can already say that.
Like, I think you can,
Have you
but
seen-
some people say he's lost it. I don't think he's lost it. I think he's just doing it on purpose. And that movie will prove it.
Have you seen Punch Drunk Club?
No.
Yeah. Or like
That's the one.
Rain
like,
on Me. Yeah.
Yeah. Punch Drunk Club's like the
Well,
only
you
one.
just need something a little more recent, I'd say.
For sure. Like that's how old is
The
that?
Meyerowitz stories.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, there
very
we-
recent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but
I haven't heard that movie.
I've
He's
heard
good in
it, but
it?
He's really good.
Okay.
I take your word for it. I need to watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's really
it's on Netflix?
And
Yeah.
it's by the guy that's making Marriage Story. Baumbach.
Noah Baumbach.
Oh.
Francis Ha. He did Francis Ha.
Okay, then I definitely need to watch
Yes.
it. 'Cause
He's just really good as those mumblecore, like I don't even know, French New Wave inspired.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Hangout
Dialogue.
movies.
Well, that movie's
Yeah.
a great deconstruction of a family.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch that now.
Yeah, it's good.
Adam Sandler.
And it just flips
The
a.
man.
There's a lot of movies about a young artist whose parents are like diplomats or like that work in like I think so they kind of stunt the artist growth. But this is bad growth. It's like the sons are not that special, but the dad is an artist who shits on the family because they're not artists.
Oh,
and so it's kind of
that
bad.
almost sounds like
really
it almost sounds like the story of
interesting.
Jean Renoir. Like his dad was like an extremely famous painter. I can't remember his first name, but like big painter. And then the son was a director, but he didn't make anything for a while. Like he was probably in his 30s or 40s before he made Day in the Country.
Yeah.
Like according to some real fancy types like Dr. Ray, Renoir is like the best director who ever lived.
Rules of the game. Baby.
Rules of the game. Never stop talking about rules of the game.
I'm not well versed in this film history.
Film history class.
We're getting a little too deep
French
right now.
New Wave stuff. Or, I don't even know if Renoir counts as New Wave.
Probably not.
I think he's the predecessor to New
He's
Wave.
early, yeah.
Sorry,
guys.
They're good movies. Rules of the Game is pretty
up.
okay. Like it's good, but it's not as good as Dr. Ray says. But Crimes of Monsieur Lange, which is the other movie by that guy that we watch, is actually really good. Like
I still have yet to see that one.
that one's really. I don't think you're gonna get to this semester, which
That's
is a shame,
too bad.
just because of all the movie viewings that got canceled. They're just kind of like There's something about the set direction of like how many people are on screen at the same time. It's got like a real artistic movement to it. Like it flows. Like you ever watch a big heavy industry machine that just does things perfectly over and over and over again? It's got that same kind of.
What'd you say?
I said marble. Perfectly.
I thought you meant like
over
a
and
physical
over.
machine.
I do.
Right?
I do mean that. He's talking about the.
Get out of here.
Clever metaphor.
Someone get Martin Scorsese in this place.
Theme parks.
They are
Disney.
Do you sign on?
Oh, The
Oh, I
Irishman.
do.
The Irishman is
I
also a
do.
movie. I'm
You
really
do?
looking
Oh, yeah,
forward to
Irishman.
seeing.
Dude, Scorsese, he didn't really badmouth them as hard as like people.
Well, he
offended
kind
him.
of did.
He said they weren't like cinema. He said they were like theme parks. And honestly,
that was
I'm
the-
inclined to agree with
That was-
Scorsese.
I completely agree.
That was the first comment. The second one was saying like they're invading, and like they deserve to be like they shouldn't be invading the cinema.
I don't know.
That was like
That
where
was-
he took it too far there, but then he pulled back again.
Yeah.
But I can understand his sentiment. Like you have to like.
Yeah, he grew up in
Knowing
a time
who
in the
he is.
70s.
I mean,
70s and 80s where the popular movies were like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like you had the auteur directors that were like had the big budget movies. You know, they were making original movies.
I see where he's coming.
well, because
from.
he's just frustrated that he got the Netflix budget, not like,
Not
Well, I don't
the
know.
Fox
I don't know.
budget.
I think the
And I think there's even
frustration's
some
coming
truth to
through.
the invasion thing. Come on.
I don't think there is.
It's getting.
I've
it's
seen
a
this
lot.
statistic. Only 3% of screens are taken up by like superhero movies per year.
Okay, but look at the top grossing films.
Okay, but
of
does
this
that
year or
that
all
doesn't
time.
matter? What matters is that it's not taking up the majority of screens.
I don't know,
Just because
man. When I
people are
worked
choosing to
I
watch
think
it.
when I worked in
Wow.
Regal, the Endgame stayed. Endgame came out in what? May?
It came up on my birthday,
Well,
April
there
25th.
seems to
April
always be
25th.
one.
Late April.
They trade out.
Endgame was still in like 3 or 4 theaters in my 14 theater Regal in July. Like,
How about a 3-month run?
huh?
About a 3-month full run.
Yeah, like it was still taking up a bunch of them. And then like it took up like 6 before that, and it was still like it stayed there for a long while. And then it got re-released. Like
Yeah, they
I think
did
Endgame's a special case, but
because
like,
they wanted to break the record.
yeah,
you
Endgame
know?
wanted
And
money.
they did.
And they did.
And they did. I mean,
Eat
Avatar.
dirt, James Cameron.
I was about to say Avatar went for like 8 months in theaters.
Okay, Avatar.
So, like,
Avatar had a problem.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we don't
Oh,
need to
Avatar
talk
2.
about Avatar.
I liked Avatar. I really did.
No, I do want to talk about Avatar. What did you think about Avatar?
Dude, I saw
It's
it,
blue
when it
people
first came
Pocahontas,
out.
but
I
no
barely
one
remember. I was
unformed.
like, what, 8 years old?
I fell asleep watching it, man.
What? Really? I
Yes.
thought that was the best movie I'd ever seen, period,
I feel
when
like
I
it's a
watched
bit
it.
revolutionary
Oh, I
visually,
freaking
but,
loved
like,
it.
The narrative's nothing
They
new.
had mech suits with
special.
giant machine guns. Like, it wasn't like a gun built into the arm. The mech suit picks up a big rifle.
giant
It's so
machine gun.
stupid, but God, it's cool.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it. I just remember thinking that it had ended like 4 times.
Yeah,
It does end 4
I
times.
cut to black, and it's like 5 seconds, and then we're back in it for another 20 minutes. It's like,
They called it the Return of the King ending, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I forgive Peter Jackson for that, but not for The Hobbit.
Well, I don't, was that even his choice?
HFR.
I don't forgive Peter Jackson for The Return of the
Baby.
King. I do forgive him for the first Hobbit, and I don't forgive him for any movie after the first Hobbit.
I didn't mind Desolation of Smaug.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. The only movie out of all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies I've seen is the first Hobbit movie.
You're a disgrace.
All right, listen, I'll lay it out for you. The first one's kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie.
Lord of the Rings.
The first Lord of the Rings movie is kind of boring.
I don't agree.
Two Towers is actively boring until the Battle for Helm's Deep, and then the third one is
only opinion.
I was gonna say we're just gonna have to cut off the podcast right now.
And then the third one is good, pretty much until
I'll
5 hours
watch
of
it
ending.
for myself. I'm not gonna.
I was about to say, don't listen to anyone's opinions.
That means I'm not listening to yours either.
Except for the fact that the third one will make you cry.
Granted, I have not seen
doubtful.
any of
Yes,
them
it will.
since I was like 10.
It will.
So it's been a hot minute.
Doubtful.
It's like Marley and me.
Marley and me does not make me
Have you
cry.
paid
It didn't make you cry?
No.
I mean, I guess you're heartless.
You know,
It's
I
hard
don't
to make
cry
me cry.
very hard when dogs die in movies. Like, everyone's like, oh, dude, the dog.
I can't take it, man.
Man,
It's just
I
too
cry a lot
much.
worse with, like, I cry in any movie that has something to do with, like, the loss of a family member. Like the estrangement of family members.
Hereditary?
That's what I was about to say.
Hereditary,
The
probably.
Farewell. Did you cry in the Farewell?
I didn't see the Farewell. Like,
I
for example,
nearly did.
For example, when I watched Coco, I legitimately bawled my eyes out for the last 20 minutes of that movie. Like, I did not stop crying really hard for the whole last 20 minutes.
I'm of the opinion that I think Coco's overrated, but that's...
I mean, I don't think Coco's like anything like a major achievement for Pixar. It was a really good movie, but it wasn't anything special. I still think WALL-E.
Best animated picture, didn't it?
I think
It
was really good.
2016 Oscars, 2017.
I know it won Best Original Song for Remember Me. I don't know if it won Best Animated Feature.
It might have.
No,
I think it did.
was it not the same year as? No, I probably did. Yeah. Look it up. I was thinking if it was like Spider-Verse, but Spider-Verse was a year later.
Yeah, no, Coco was not going against.
I just
Spider-Verse.
remember,
There was, like,
I
zero
wanted Mystery of
controversy.
Love to win Best Original Song.
Oh
That's
my
what it was.
god.
Coco was 2017, so it won the 2017 Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mystery
No,
of Love's the better song.
I agree.
What a great song.
What movies have made you guys cry?
Sufjan. That's a lot of those.
No, how about like the most?
I cry a lot in movies. I'll be
Or
honest.
consistently watching it over, you'll still cry.
The Green Mile.
I still haven't seen that.
I watched it on an airplane.
Oh, come on.
And no, the worst part is that they would put on the PA announcement as like the scene is happening at the end.
Hey, don't say anything
I said
else.
the
man.
scene. There's like, yeah.
You know, the scene that makes you cry.
That's too much. I'm not watching it.
Listen, I cried during Mars Needs Mom, so I'm not exactly the best
The
person
best.
to look for it for what cries. Listen, anything that involves the moment where the mom takes off her helmet and gives it to the son and like dies. Listen, the rest of the movie is
Darth Vader.
hot fucking garbage, but that scene is actually really good. Like that 5-minute bit.
So it could be a garbage movie.
What movies make you cry?
Yeah.
Consistently.
What about animated movie? What's the most recent animated movie, if any?
That I cried to?
Yeah, because it was Inside Out for me.
I cried during Inside
I can't
Out.
remember it.
Maybe
It's
like
been a
Up.
while for me.
Up, yeah.
I actually didn't cry during Up.
I think
It's really funny though. Some girl was like, I was watching Up at a party, and some girl was like, "Man, wouldn't it be sad if his wife died?" And I just looked at her like,
Oh my god.
She hadn't seen it?
"Nope." It was a while ago. Like it was at a
Okay.
birthday party when I was like 12.
Okay, sure.
Maybe like the Land
She
Before
did
Time.
not
too.
stop
Ooh.
crying. She was gone.
What are the odds
Yeah.
of someone just saying that?
Wouldn't it be bad if his wife died? And I'm just like, oh shoot. Oh.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
so
know.
funny
It's
in
pretty hard
retrospect.
for me to cry in a movie lately. I get concerned about it.
Did you say you
Sometimes.
saw Roma and like had an emotional reaction to it?
I did tear up.
Yeah.
It was when you know, it was,
The birth scene, right?
no, it was when she like first like found out she was pregnant or something.
Yeah,
she was.
Oh, how
talking to the
dosed
mother.
she
Yeah,
was.
That just hit me really hard.
Yeah.
I think Requiem for a Dream when the mom,
Oh,
when the friends
yeah.
are.
Don't tell me.
Oh, he hasn't seen it.
I'm trying to watch it. I've only
Okay.
seen one Aronofsky movie, and it's Black Swan,
Okay.
which means
Which is good.
I'm watching that. Is it The Fighter? Is that
The
other?
Wrestlers.
Or The
was
Wrestler,
called.
my
I haven't
bad.
seen it though.
Okay.
Now
Yeah,
Requiem.
that
made me
movie.
on it.
Yeah, that movie will.
I already know what you're talking about though. It got me too.
I don't think I've seen Requiem for a Dream either.
That's on mine.
The
Yeah.
score is
I-
incredible.
That's it's a movie like Hereditary where like if you watch it, your day is ruined. Like you can't start your day with it and then
No.
and then
You
go
have to
about your
end
day
your day with
normally.
it.
Yeah, so
It's not an
you gotta end your
exaggeration.
day with it and like sleep off the.
Sleep off the sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a necessary like.
Oh jeez.
Emotions.
It's really brutal. Like if they played that instead of having the DARE program in elementary schools, it would work very well.
I had my high school teacher in biology said that. It's like, you know what? That's the one thing I agree with you on. It's terrifying.
Yeah, everything else that man tried to tell me that cells aren't real, and then it's just
all that biology. Yep, made up.
All right, now we're gonna move into the section on final thoughts. Seb, we'll start off with you again.
On the Lighthouse.
In terms
of
the Lighthouse, film of the year. Honestly, I mean, both in performances and how Robert Eggers doesn't draw attention to his own filmmaking. I mean, like, because there's a way where it's like people try to be artsy through their filmmaking, and it kind of takes away from the performances, and I think Robert does a really good job of balancing both the performances and his own directing, which I found to be just very immersive for this movie. So I just think 10 out of 10, would recommend.
Yeah, that atmosphere. We talked about how they build the lighthouse, but they build everything. I don't know if
the entire quarter of the lighthouse keepers.
They built all.
They built the island. They just put the rocks in themselves.
They did.
They set up a volcano.
But I don't know. It's just it seems so real. Like maybe some of it they didn't build, and it was like something they found. But no, they built all of it.
No, it's As for my final thoughts on the Lighthouse, I don't think I liked it as much as everyone else did. I really liked it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. I think in terms of filmmaking, like skill and just everything that went into that movie, it's a 10 out of 10. My personal enjoyment was more along the lines of an 8. I really liked it. Yeah, it was a really, really good movie. I thought that Willem Dafoe, I having only watched it once, I thought Willem Dafoe really did steal the show. His acting was fantastic. The scenes with his monologues were great. The insult, the minute long insult, the curse. Yeah. God. It was really something special. That's really my takeaway from the movie is this is something special.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Or I guess I'll say my final thoughts. That's the main thing. It's like any movie that can that sticks in my head for that long, or it sits with me for so long, regardless of how I feel about it, I just know it's something special. But I also love it. So, but. Yeah, and then what seems to always happen with me, and it happened here, with things that I end up loving, I walk out of it the first time I watch it, I'm like, I don't really know how I felt about that. Is that weird?
No, I remember turning around to you the second time that I saw it.
I thought I might have not liked it that much. Genuinely.
I remember when I was predicting it,
yes.
I was like, Nick might be underwhelmed by this movie.
And I walked out of that, and I was like, you might be right, Seb. I was like, I don't know. But then, given an hour of thinking about it.
We're just talking about it.
I was already okay, I like that a lot. And then over the weekend, I'm just constantly thinking about it.
And seeing it for a second time.
And yeah, that really did it. And the same thing happened to me with Midsummer.
Yeah.
Probably even more seriously. It was a really big jump because I ended up really loving it. And I was I thought I might have disliked it when I first came
Midsummer?
Yeah.
Oof.
Which is weird. First Reformed that happened to me too.
It's a lot to take in.
You can't.
I feel like these are the movies that really do require multiple viewings. It's not a movie that you can encapsulate the whole of your experience with just a single viewing in the first time in a theater.
Right.
For example, with Midsummer, I liked Midsummer just fine. The second time I watched it was the director's cut, which was better, but there's only 10 minutes of extra footage in it, and I like the movie a lot more when I watched the director's cut.
There was more than 10 minutes of extra footage, but I think only necessary extra footage was about 10 minutes.
There's a lot of insignificant stuff, but
noticeable extra footage that
exactly.
change anything was 10 minutes.
Just extending the car scene on the way up.
I actually really like the extension of the car scene.
But I'm just.
It was funny. That extra 5 minutes of them doing bands about Hitler in the car. That
I
was fun.
the extra scene between Josh and
Christian
about you didn't even know how to use JSTOR.
Yeah.
When he said that, I was like, ooh, that's a mean one.
Yeah, that pop point was undercooked in the. Even Ari Aster said it. Yeah, he was upset he had to cut that out.
Yeah, that's a great line.
That's so good. You don't even know how to use JSTOR. Oof.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I think even if walking into the theater, if this isn't your kind of movie, you can still recognize how well made it is. And it's like there's some parts about it that's undeniably great. The acting, cinematography, the screenplay. I think is one of the best parts. Like you get fully submerged, even if you don't understand. I mean, it probably takes you a while to get acclimated to the way they're speaking in like the old King's English.
We're getting used to Robert Pattinson's accent. Took me a scene or two. It's a little thick.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I think it's great. Yeah, of course, it's like undeniably good. But one thing I thought would be a flaw if it was in the hands of any other director is that you don't feel empathy for any of the characters, but you're still drawn in just because of how well made it is.
Yeah,
if this was any other movie, I would be like, I don't. You don't
really care.
You don't care.
Yeah, like they can both die. Like I don't care.
Pattinson's a lunatic and Defoe's an asshole, but it's you just want to watch it happen.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point, though. Is like I do think I felt empathy for Robert's character for at least the first bit because he just seems like a normal dude. Like he doesn't really want to drink. He just wants to do his job and get off. And you're like, I can sympathize with that. But like as he's just
you find out more about this.
More about him, and he gets crazier. Then you're just like, I'm just being entertained right now. Like I've kind of lost interest in my personal connection to these people. Like I'm just more fascinated with what's going on.
Yeah.
So
there's some joy and like descent into madness.
Exactly, like The Shining. It's like you don't like him, but you just like the performance.
You like watching him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Favorite movie that kind of relates to
Yeah.
it,
The next question, the last question that we'll close out on is a movie that. Your favorite movie that is in a similar vein to The Lighthouse, like an atmosphere.
That isn't The Lighthouse.
That is not The Lighthouse. Which might be a tough question.
That is a tough question.
I don't know. I would say...
I haven't seen anything like that.
I'd say Ex Machina.
Really?
Personally. It's one of my favorite A24 movies.
Is Ex Machina A24?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Guess I'm an A24 fan from way back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you like, oh wait, they made that?
Yeah.
Or they distributed it, excuse me.
It's kind of has the same like going crazy, introspective, like who am I and like what's going on, the godlike, metaphors.
Sure, actually.
And that ending.
And just the ending is chilling. Because just the idea that like AI could already be amongst us and we'd never know it until they take over. Like
it's almost like on the other like end of like the spectrum or something. Like I don't know, because like that's like such like a sterile movie. You know what I mean by that? Is that
it's like
this movie's like gnarly.
It's very like this movie's dirty and grimy. Like just like the way the characters look, they look horrible.
Well, yeah, like
it looks like terrible things. And Ex Machina is swabbed clean.
Oh, sterile.
That's the thing, but like I think atmospherically, or like the uneasy feeling you get from both of them is, it's somewhere like on the Venn diagram it would cross over.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think for me
like
that
two sides of the same coin. Or something.
Exactly, like it's just sterile and dirty.
If I had to pick a movie whose atmosphere I liked in the same way that I liked The Lighthouse, I'd probably pick The Thing.
I haven't seen that.
You are missing out, Nick. I'm
know,
really telling you.
I have to watch it.
Watch it this year.
The John Carpenter?
The John Carpenter's The Thing, the
1984.
I need to watch it.
86, 84, 82. It's one of those.
82, dude.
I always goof it up. I always goof it. It's actually my favorite movie, and it's definitively, I think it is objectively the best horror film.
Objectively.
Objectively the best horror film.
We don't need to get into that.
No,
we don't need to,
right now.
but I think so. That's my opinion.
All right.
My opinion is
subjective.
An objective opinion.
My opinion is on the opposite. My calculations bring me to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And it's like there's this whole like real tension in the air the whole time. This idea that even if there's not like something sinister going on behind the scenes, like even if you take the alien out of the thing, like just the raw tension between the characters is just something to be frightened of. Like it's just that same kind of deep interpersonal problem that's going on between everyone around you. Like the kind of paranoia, the fear that like you're not necessarily fearing the extraterrestrial or the supernatural, but you're fearing your fellow man.
Yes.
I feel like it's in the same way. And that same feeling of isolation because it's at McMurdo in Antarctica instead of on a
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, they're all the way out, isolated from humanity.
Yeah, it's got that same kind of feeling of isolation. I feel like that's super strong. I feel like feelings of isolation in movies that have a real tension to it are a really powerful thing, because there's always that thing in the back of your mind, like even if you're in a forest out in the middle of nowhere, like you can run eventually and hit civilization.
Yeah.
You aren't running from Antarctica and you aren't running from a lighthouse. Like that's
or like space. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or in the
Alien, we can get into that. Yeah.
I think Alien's I don't think Alien's got the same kind of atmosphere to it. Like The Thing and Lighthouse does. I think there's a little bit more focus.
I think the first one does.
In the first half of it, yeah. But once the aliens start showing up, I think it becomes I think the movie changes a bit. And I think it's for the better, but I don't think it's as focused on because it's not about the tension between the characters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's that same kind of feeling. There's definitely the feeling of isolation never goes away, especially when it's Ripley alone, like literally isolated on that giant ship. But yeah, that's my movie that I'll.
Do you have one? Because I really can't come up with anything.
I don't know. My first thought was like of an environment that plays just as much as a role as mine would be like New York City and Taxi Driver.
Oh,
but since we're already talking about that, I could do like Persona by like Ingmar Bergman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like a deconstruction of just a fucking existentialist movie about purpose and how just not finding it can drive you mad.
Yeah. Eggers takes a lot of inspiration from Bergman, right?
And it's in black and white.
Yeah.
And a lot of the close-ups are really...
the classic Bergman close-up. The Taxi Driver is a good idea too. Like that actually makes a lot of sense. Because it's about like the
place that drives
like
you
it's
insane,
a
but
character.
also the people in New York City. I mean, he talks about it when
the scum on the streets.
Yeah, when what's his name, Palantine gets in the back seat of the cab.
Yeah.
And he's like,
you must think I'm a pretty sick guy.
Or like, yeah, that was Scorsese. Yeah, or when the.
Wait, was that Martin Scorsese?
Yeah, yes. When he's like, when you see my
talk about killing his wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty fucking crazy, insane. But I think when the mayor gets in the backseat, and then he's like, "What would you fix about what bugs you the most about the country?" And he just talks about how he wants New York to just be demolished off the face of the planet because. And you feel empathy with him, and that like, yeah, if I was in this New York City and I was a war veteran, I wasn't getting any help, and because everyone in the it's kind of like similar to Joker, everyone in the movie is maybe just as bad as he is.
Yeah, they just don't.
You're on the even kill, so like right up until he does that, kills people, you're completely with him.
Yeah, I agree.
Taxi Driver, man.
So Nick, no, nothing.
I don't know.
Just any. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same vein as Lighthouse, but just any movie whose atmosphere you felt was as enthralling as Lighthouse's, or even similarly.
I mean, it seems like a cheap answer, but it's like all that I can come up with now. I mean, it's Eggers' like previous movie, The Witch. Like, come on, yeah, like that's.
I think you mean. The Witch.
Oh my lord! All right, it's definitively The Witch, though.
I like the name of the movie.
It's a stylized title because of when they would like instead of using like W stamps, they would just use 2 V's or something with stamps. Mm-hmm. Either way, the atmosphere is really a big part of that movie too.
Isolated community again too.
Yeah, it's just like a whole family that time.
Yes, I mean they get like banished from the town or whatever in the beginning, so there's the isolated part, and I mean, come on, I mean that's a cheap answer because it's the same guy. It's like, of course it's gonna feel similar.
I agree.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously got this fascination with the mythology and like folk tales and stuff, and they're like of the same vein in that way too.
I mean, guy who did Alien also did, I think it was Alien 6, the sequel to Prometheus. So like, you know, directors can make different.
Covenant?
Yeah, Covenant was also done. The same guy. So you know, directors can make different movies. It's fine if you say they're similar.
And The Lighthouse. Do you see any?
Mulholland Drive.
You know how like there's
That one's more
scenes
to do with, like-
where there's scenes in I'm not saying like the atmosphere, but I'm saying there's scenes in Mulholland Drive where they happen, and you're like, there's no way that this is like where it like fucks with you. Where you don't know if what you're watching is really happening or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Betty switches, or like when the characters switch, is similar to the feeling. I got the same feeling when William Dafoe's like, we've been here for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, okay. And you think back through the entire movie, and it almost like
total deconstruction of what you've thought was going on.
Yeah, it just like it knows what you're thinking,
and it wants to remind you that you're wrong.
And yeah,
planting the seeds of doubt.
It just fucks with you.
Yeah,
and
that's definitely true.
Just plays with your thoughts because he knows what he's done, and he's like, well, I know the audience is gonna think this. It's just like being in the hands of a director that just knows how to just
they're holding
you like
you.
a puppet.
And they can move you around whenever they want to.
Yeah.
Just
laugh, stop laughing.
Yeah,
exactly what
exactly.
Tarantino said.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he described it.
Yeah, he's like,
I don't remember exactly what he said.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I just want a director that I'm in a theater, and he's like, okay, laugh, keep laughing, stop laughing, be horrified, now laugh. You know, a director that
just like you're at their will, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of terrifying.
That's a good director.
That's a good director. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. That is the end of episode 2.
Before we end, I wanted to do one little thing before we go.
Oh.
Should pale death with troubled dread make the ocean caves our bed? God who hears the surges roll, designed to save our suppliant soul.
Deign to save.
Deign to save.
That's all right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.